And you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate. Just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll
try to inflame the minds of their most, conspiracy theory addled base so that they hear Brennan, Clapper, Obama, Hillary, and they get activated. And suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein file.
Right after landing in Scotland, Donald Trump was confronted once again with the Epstein scandal, a story he desperately wants buried. Despite his attempts to redirect the conversation to Barack Obama, his distractions are falling flat and sparking even more scrutiny. This report from Midas Touch dives deep into how Trump's deflection strategy is unraveling in real time. Let's break this down.
Immediately after getting off the plane today in Scotland, he was asked about Epstein.
Trump's attempts to divert the national conversation from his relationship with Epstein to alleged corruption involving former President Barack Obama has been as successful as Trump ties, Trump casinos, Trump board games, and inevitably Trump phones. Trust me, just give it time.
Release the files, you lying jobby. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but jobby, Jobbie, which I learned today is Scottish slang for poop, so.
Trump's evasions are not just political, they're becoming a public joke, even mocked with local slang. His failure to address the core Epstein questions only fuels distrust and ridicule.
There's that, in case that's useful for anyone out there this weekend. Now you know, jobby, poop. This man's sign reads, "This is not pedophile island. You are not welcome here." That's what it says.
This week, Trump continued priority number one, divert the conversation from Epstein to Obama, to the point that he just blatantly said it. And as covered earlier in the week, the usually tight-lipped former president issued a statement in response that was everything Trump's statements are not. Short, sharp, to the point.
So breaking just moments ago, former President Obama's office responding after Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard accused his administration of using, quote, manufactured intelligence about President Trump and Russia. Gabbard sending a referral to the Justice Department and calling for, quote, accountability. President Obama's office saying, quote, nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in 2020 in the report by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee led by then Chairman Marco Rubio. That report moments ago from President Obama's office, the story that we were discussing earlier in the hour.
Notably stating, quote, these claims are outrageous enough to merit a response. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at a distraction. Now, we all know what he's trying to distract from. And honestly, despite Trump's desperate efforts, all it's done is spark more conversation regarding his administration's handling of the Epstein files.
What happened to the lawyer who got Epstein his bizarrely lenient plea deal when he was first arrested on sex trafficking charges in Florida? What happened to the lawyer who got him that bizarrely lenient plea deal? Well, Trump hired him to be his own lawyer.
This shows the direct conflicts of interest and deep entanglements Trump has with Epstein's inner circle, undermining any claims of innocence or detachment.
What happened to the U.S. attorney who gave Jeffrey Epstein that bizarrely lenient plea deal? Oh, Trump put him in his cabinet in his first term. Well, who then prosecuted Epstein a second time when he was brought up on federal charges? Oh, that was the SDNY line prosecutor who Trump inexplicably fired last week. Who was in charge of the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Prisons when Epstein then killed himself in federal custody? President Donald Trump, who bragged to a reporter about how much Epstein seemed to like women on the younger side, who said Epstein was a lot of fun to be with, who bragged that he was friends with Epstein for 15 years, who flew on his plane at least 7 times, and who now says that everybody needs to stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein right now?
This litany of Trump's connections directly confronts his narrative of distancing himself from Epstein, exposing hypocrisy and desperation to silence the story.
Answers there are Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, and Donald Trump.
With more photos emerging, more video footage doing the rounds, especially a video showing Epstein pleading the fifth when he was asked if he and Donald Trump were ever in the same company with underage girls. But with every attempt to distract and attack freedom of expression, it comes back to bite him twice as hard. I mean, just days after Trump celebrated the news that Stephen Colbert would be leaving CBS after their parent company Paramount settled a lawsuit with the president to the tune of $16 million, another Paramount show, South Park, had something to say on the matter.
Another random commented on my Instagram that you're on the Epstein list.
The Epstein list? Are we still talking about that?
Well, on the list or not. It's weird that whenever it comes up, you just tell everyone to relax.
I'm not telling everyone to relax. Relax, guy.
No, I need counseling. You remind me more and more of this other guy I used to date. Like,
everyone's talking about it today. Look at the Google Trends. I mean, look, Donald Trump wants this to go away. He obviously hates South Park, but the American people are infatuated with the story. Look at this. Google Trends for South Park up 670% versus last week. It is the top topic searched with Donald Trump this afternoon. And I will note another person they one time put in bed with Satan was Saddam Hussein. Not exactly the comparison I think Donald Trump wants.
But that was the top two. When you
Trump plus something is Trump plus South Park.
You got it exactly right, Aaron Burnett.
Wow. Okay. So the episode didn't just target Trump. It did go after its own parent company,
yes,
Paramount, over the merger that was just approved and what happened to Colbert. So that merger gets approved today. So this was last night. So just on the eve of it, they said this.
You guys saw what happened to CBS? Yeah, well, guess who owns CBS? Paramount. You really want to end up like Colbert? You guys gotta stop being stupid.
We can't understand you.
Just shut up or we're going to get canceled, you idiots. If someone has the power of the presidency and also has the power to sue and take bribes, then he can do anything to anyone. It's the president, dude. All of you shut the up or South Park is over.
Okay, I guess maybe I know the answer to this, but who exactly is South Park talking to?
You know, I think one of the things that's so important to point out was that Stephen Colbert was despised by Republicans in this country. His net popularity rating was way underwater. But South Park is in this unique position. It doesn't just talk to Democrats. It actually talks to Republicans as well. Look at the net popularity rating with the GOP. South Park is actually on the positive side of the ledger compared to Stephen Colbert, who was way underwater at minus 35 points. South Park at this particular point running 37 points ahead of Stephen Colbert when it comes to the Republican Party. And therefore, last night, might actually be talking to some Republicans.
Which is fascinating and actually goes to the point of the White House saying that it's a fourth-rate show. Not even a third, it was a fourth. They say that it hasn't been relevant for over 20 years. Tell us something we don't know.
I'll tell you a few things that you don't know, Aaron Burnett. First off, it is the longest running show in cable, at least among scripted shows. But more than that, obviously, we're in an era of streaming as well. And here's the thing that's so important. It's not just that South Park is the longest running. It's as successful in the streaming space. It is at this particular point a top 20 show on streaming. And that was before the season premiere. So I really would not be surprised if it jumps even further. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the top 10, especially given all of the situations going on with this particular program. There's nothing more that comedy writers like more than a little bit of drama and a little bit of controversy.
Oh, well, they've got more than a little. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Which shows that the Epstein stories aren't drying up. In fact, they're blowing up. Even across the broadcasts that undoubtedly skewed to the MAGA contingent, they can't let it go either. And it's even popping up on his trip in Scotland.
Yet, immediately after getting off the plane today in Scotland, he was asked about Epstein. He clearly wants this trip to be his running away, across the pond, across the ocean, from the Epstein story. But it still followed him. This was Trump's view as his motorcade made its way to his golf course in Scotland today. One sign there reading, "Release the files, you lying jobby." I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but jobby, J-O-B-B-I-E, which I learned today is Scottish slang for poop. So there's that, in case that's useful for anyone out there this weekend. Now you know, jobby, poop. This man's sign reads, "This is not Pedophile Island. You are not welcome here." That's what it says. And then at his golf course itself, a sign reading, "Twinned with Epstein Island," has been put beneath the golf course's actual sign. There it is. It looks like it's in similar type that took a lot of planning, and they attached it. It looks like it was meant to be there. Even the local elected officials were in on the trolling. Stephen Flynn, Aberdeen's entirely bald representative in the British Parliament, who you can see there in the photo, told the BBC that he would be busy washing his hair during Trump's visit. It's quite a troll. So while Trump is going to literally great lengths to try to get away from the Epstein story, it seems he's having a bit of trouble.
Despite the calculated attempts to shift blame onto Obama and steer attention away, Trump's ties to Epstein are flooding back stronger than ever, from legal hires to personal associations. Even in Scotland, the scandal shadows his every move. Trump clearly wants this conversation to end, but the public and protesters are demanding transparency. The takeaway? Truth always finds a way. Drop your take below. What do you think Trump's real plan here is?